Good evening, Canada and the rest of the world. Live from Bauhaus Studios in beautiful downtown Port Credit, it's the Tom and Rick Show for Wednesday, September 16th. Tonight, singer, songwriter, event planner, amazing person, and this year's recipient in the Mississauga Music Walk of Fame, Patty Janetta. Musician, producer, actor, model, and mental health advocate, Bill Bell. Bassist in the all-girl punk band Sista Fista, and one of the people who set up your concerts and make sure that nothing falls on your head. Talking about the Day of Visibility, Sammy McCarran. Also tonight, Cooking with Carson, Eating PC, Riffing with Rickford, and tonight's guest on Undercover of the Night is Tony Paglia. And now your hosts, Tom Barlow and Rickford Van Dyke.
Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Tom and Rick Show. Rick, how was your week?
Oh, busy. I had 4 gigs in a row. 4 gigs.
Wow, it's like the before times.
Yeah.
I had 3 gigs. It's almost like I didn't know how to do that. But
Day gig, night gig, every time outside gig. It's been pretty cool. Thank you for coming to see it, and be safe out there so we can keep our venues so we can still play.
yes, I had 3 gigs myself, and we have live music in Port Credit this week.
We sure do. At the Shore, it's yours truly again. It seems like we're there a lot, but you know what? Yeah. 6:30 on Thursday.
It's Thursday.
It's Thomas Barlow. And Killing Time is on Friday at 6:30 at the Shore. And also at the Shore, Grady Brothers, 6:30. And at Spice, it's Rocky, like the guy, Adrian. That guy?
That guy.
Okay, Rocky's there. I don't know what that means. 3 to 7. And Brian Gower,
I think it is.
Gower.
Brian.
Gower at Sunday, 3 to 7.
I'd also like to mention there is a new initiative at Lakeview Village. I don't know if you know where Lakeview Village is, but if you were to drive along Lakeshore, almost to Dixie on the south side, there's a very large development happening, and they have they have planted thousands and thousands of sunflower seeds, and they have live music Friday evenings, live music in this sea of sunflower seeds. I did it last Friday. It was really fun. This week is Tyler Narima and Chuck Jackson. Next week is Druzy, Susan McNeil and Andrew McTaggart. It's a great vibe, it sounds great, and I really encourage you to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited about our first guest today. She is a legend here in Mississauga. So legendary, in fact, that she has just been inducted into the Mississauga Walk of Fame, where her name has been engraved in stone. Patty Janetta, what a pleasure to have you here today. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. It's wonderful to be here today. I love your show. I watch it all the time.
Why, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a bit. I know that Oscar Peterson has been inducted. Mm-hmm. I know that Jeff Healy has been inducted. Rick Emmett from Triumph. What a great honor. How did you find out about it, and what does it mean to you?
Okay, well, I found out about it on a Zoom meeting with about 20 little heads staring at me.
Right.
Some of them I knew and some I didn't, and basically I cried in front of them all. I have been on the Mississauga Music Walk of Fame committee since Jim Tovey started. He called a few people when he thought of it. Myself, John Stewart from the Mississauga News, Mike Beggs, and Rick Cooper. And so we've always been the people that would vet the nominations that came in through the BIA or whatever. Right. And so I'd been nominated off and on, and just when I'd received it, just rip them up. And but basically, because I was on the committee,
right,
and I never thought it was right. So this year we had decided we weren't doing a Mississauga Music Walk of Fame because of COVID. We couldn't have a live induction.
Right.
We didn't know what the Southside Shuffle was doing, and they've always been our host. So when they decided to go to a virtual festival, they called us and said, we want to give you 20 minutes just to talk about the Mississauga Music Walk of Fame so everyone will know about it and won't forget about it. And we thought, that's great, we'll film some of the history, who the past inductees were, and where we're going from the future, because we're going to be animating the stars starting next year.
Right.
So you'll be able to point to them with any device, and whoever it is, the inductee is, will come alive.
So for the people at home, when you get inducted into the Mississauga Walk of Fame, they put a star, put it in the ground,
yes,
and they engrave it, and so you take a picture of it, and it's going to tell you stuff.
You're going to, yeah.
That's
You just click
cool.
on the app, and everything will come alive. So that we have 20, I became the 29th star, so you'll be able to meet 29 inductees.
Very cool.
So, so I thought that's what was happening until this Zoom meeting happened. And then at that time, two of the committee members said, we'd like to just stop the meeting now before we give our update about what we're doing. We'd like to make an announcement. Patty, you don't know about this, but we took you off the committee this year. You haven't been on it. And we accepted some of the nominations that were sent in for you, and they're happening, they've been coming so long that this year you're a sole inductee. I had no idea. And I didn't know I wasn't on the committee. So they had done all that behind my back. And
That's amazing.
I had to accept because it was in front of a lot of people.
And you had to decide because you're a worthy recipient. Now I know you from Mississauga. I know the volunteer work you do, all the community work you do for the festivals here and so on. And I knew that you were a successful songwriter and had a career in the music business. I didn't know any details of it till today or yesterday when I started researching you as a guest.
Yeah.
Wow. You were like a young pop star. You had a hit with Bo Diddley that you co-wrote with him.
Yes.
I've seen pictures of you hanging out with Chris Christopherson and some of the greatest legends in the history of rock and roll. Tell us a little bit about the journey from being a young pop star to being where you are now in the Mississauga Walk of Fame.
Okay, so it's been a long time because I started at 17, so I'll be quick. I actually started in the pit band at my high school. I was in one of the first schools of the arts before Etobicoke School of the Arts, Vincent Massey was. And I auditioned to go there. And I was in the pit band, you know, you always played before the school assemblies,
Sure.
and I would sing, and we had our band. And we wrote a rock musical called What's Wrong World, full of teenage angst and anti-establishment. But
The emo of the time.
it was, but everyone loved it. And it actually toured Toronto high schools. And at one of the shows, my friend Susan was in the show, and her brother came to hear her sing, and he just happened to be an on-air personality at Chum AM. And he came backstage and he said, Patty, you're going to be a singer. I'm going to help you. And I said, no, I want to be an artist. I want to go to OCA. He said, listen, if I send you to an audition, will you go? And I said, okay. 3 weeks later, he phoned, and my friend and I took the subway to downtown, knocked on the door opened, and we said, we're here for the audition, and the fellow said, auditions ended 15 minutes ago. And we said, but we took the subway all the way from Etobicoke. And all of a sudden he laughs and he looks at us and he turns around and he goes, they took the subway all the way from Etobicoke. And there's all this laughter. And a voice said, well, let her in then. So we walked in. It turns out the guy that opened the door was Bob McBride from Lighthouse. He's the guy that let me in. The guy who yelled down, okay, let them in then, was Bill King. And we stood on a circle and sang Helpless by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young in two-part harmony. At the end was all this applause. We were in the Global Village Theatre, and above us sitting was John Brower. You know, we went Canadian Idol, John Benwell, all big producers. And they said, you're in the show, kids. We'll see you on Monday. And that's how we were in Jesus Christ Superstar, the Canadian version.
Oh, wow. I
We
remember
opened
that
at
show.
Varsity Stadium. We went to Vegas. Victor Garber was our Jesus. We played opposite Elvis, Gladys Knight, Wayne Cochran, Rip Torn. Then we played the Aquarius Theater in LA.
And what year would that have been?
1971.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So right in the middle of the hippie era.
Middle of everything. We did our first album at MGM. I got to lay on a couch and listen to Carole King record and met all kinds of people. But then I came back to Canada and knew, after the show was closed, and knew absolutely nothing about the Canadian music industry. Nothing. I had never,
still
you know,
don't.
I just got thrown into it.
Right.
And so Victor Garber said to me, Patty, why don't you pursue singing? Because I was still thinking about going to OCA. He says, there's this Motown review. They just lost their lead singer. You know, I'll make a call. Do you want to go and do that? Like, you should do it. Because
Right.
you love R&B, pop, funk, soul. That's what I love to sing. So I went and, I didn't have to audition because he just said, Patty's in your band. I didn't know that till
Well,
I
you
got
had
there.
some juice at this point
I
after
guess.
doing all that.
So I was in a band called Full Steam Ahead, and it was like this big Motown production kind of show. And it was great. And 3 weeks into the gig, the bass player broke his thumb, so they put out an audition. In the newspaper,
Sure.
yeah, an ad in the newspaper. And the guy that answered was teaching at the conservatory. He was in the band. He ended up being in the band. And about a month later, Dave and I were an item. That was my husband now.
Right.
We've been together ever since. We left that band, started our own band.
He brought Timbits
There
for us
you go.
today.
He did. He brought you cookies.
Whoa,
Yeah. And we just traveled all over and made a name for ourselves. And then one of us had to become more stable when the kids came along. He knew it couldn't be me, so I just got to do it full time.
Well, it couldn't be me.
One of us had to.
And then it was a series of crazy things that happened. My dad was the maitre d' of the Imperial Room at the Royal York Hotel, Louis Giannetti. He booked all the big acts, Ella Fitzgerald, Tina Turner, Tony Bennett. And there was an act that had canceled at the last minute, Julie Budd from New York. And so I get this call from my dad, we're at rehearsal. And he said, Patty, I know you're not ready for this, but he said, the room's going to be dark anyways. You're playing the Imperial Room tonight. And I said, big joke, Dad. Haha. Maybe 20 years from now. He goes, no, I'm serious. Get ready. Get down here for rehearsal with the Bobby Harriet Orchestra. I said, what? We're a disco band. He said, fine, you can do it. I get down there with our band, our disco band, John Travolta, red suits, bell bottoms, platforms, and we actually played for 3 nights in the Imperial Room. And it was crazy. It was like the reviews were great because the reporters had said to my dad, if we don't like her, we're going to just massacre her. The journalists,
Right.
because
Right.
you're putting her in here. You're putting her in this position. So there was something that the article said about, youthful exuberance. I was young then. So youthful exuberance and getting this staid Royal York audience up on the stage to do the bump and, to do the disco
bump.
dance and all this stuff. Yeah, we did it. We had
man.
to do something.
Right.
All of a sudden, I had to invent a show. So I just, I walked into the audience. They told you. Anyways, it was pretty crazy. And it went over well. And then after that, just was a series of events. I met Ronnie Hawkins' manager, because Ronnie was playing the Imperial Room. And my dad introduced me to him, and I'd done my first album after playing the Imperial Room. And my dad asked Steve Thompson if he would take it to Midam. So he took my albums to Midam. Something happened, they liked me. I feel like it's crazy. They liked me. And so I got some record deals and also was chosen to represent Canada at the Sopot Festival. So then I'm going my way to Sopot and playing in front of 50,000 people at this huge song conference, singing with Charles Aznavour. Like, it's crazy. And then I came back. And then Steve asked him, he said, I'd like to manage you. And he was managing Ronnie Hawkins at the time.
Right.
So I became on his roster. And then I started meeting all kinds of people. And then it was like Rock and Roll 101. When you become on his roster, you actually have to sing backup for Ronnie for a while.
Right.
And so that was a real education.
Now, one of my heroes in rock and roll, and I
Yeah.
think one of the, he's not recognized enough for his genius, is Bo Diddley. I think that the
Yeah.
beat of rock and roll is
Yeah.
the beat of Bo Diddley.
So
And you got to tour with him. What
I
was he
did.
like on tour? What were those shows
I met
like?
him through Ronnie, because Ronnie was playing the Carlsberg Pavilion and Bo was the guest star. And I was the opening act and also sang backup for Ronnie. And I did my show, and Bo Diddley was on stage, and I would listen to him every night. So about the third night, he said, "Where's that Patty Giannetti?" That's what he didn't know how to say my name. And I was sitting up with the light man, and all of a sudden the light man goes like this, and like the lights on my eyes, and Bo's going, "Come on down here." So I had to run down the stairs of the Carlsberg Pavilion, get on the stage, and he whispers in my ear, "I'm going to sing a song, okay? And I want you to make up the second verse." Carlsberg
Right
Pavilion
now.
Sure, here we go.
is packed.
Right now.
It's packed right now. So he starts singing, this song, Told You I'd Meet You at the Dewdrop Inn at 9. And it was all about this place called the Dewdrop Inn, a series of restaurants across the U.S. And then the chorus was Make Up Your Mind Tonight. So I'm used to jamming the blues, so I did the second verse, we did the chorus, and before you know it, I was part of his show every night.
Wow.
When we finished the show, we went into Metalworks with the Paul James Band and recorded that song, and that's the song that got in Meatballs. We had like a bunch of movies and stuff.
What a great story.
Yeah,
That is so.
And then we ended
Cool.
up being friends forever, and we toured often, and right up until he passed away,
Right.
we were friends. He even came to our cottage and loved my father. They were the same age,
Right.
and they both drove those big old boats, and they both smoked cigars and drank whiskey, and they loved each other.
What a great environment to grow up in. Now, fast forward to today.
Yes.
You're an entertainer. You're in the music business, and COVID hits.
Yeah.
How has that been for you creatively? What are you doing now? Are you writing? Do you have anything coming up?
Yes, I've been doing a lot of writing myself and with a few fellow songwriters and with my band, who are all over now. My keyboard player, he's in Nova Scotia right now, and he has a studio there, but we've been back and forth. And doing a few local projects, like we both did Rise Up Mississauga. So that was great to actually get in the studio again, even through COVID, and be able to perform with your musicians. And so that's kind of neat. I didn't do an original, I did Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And so that's right now going to be used for the International Peace Festival as their theme song.
Oh, good for you.
And so they're going to be putting that out to 10 countries. And I had to do a Zoom interview last night and make my front room look like some kind of a studio and talk to people. I was supposed to give my greetings to all these people all over the world. And so that's really cool. So there's a few things like that, but I miss singing in front of audiences terribly.
We all do.
I do. I was pining for it. I just felt like an ache all the time.
We're doing it, but at a different capacity.
Yeah, in a different way.
But
different way.
That's great, and I hope I can get back into a little bit of that soon. Even to do a jam somewhere, socially distanced jam. Or
Right.
I'll sing through a shield.
Now, you were saying you just come from an event. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. A dear friend of many of us and a well-known figure in Port Credit is Beatrice.
Yes.
And Beatrice is the general manager of the Port Credit BIA, and she has some serious health issues right now, very serious. She's in the hospital, and a few of us just had to do something to perk her up. And so we decided to do a video and ask people to come. Gabby and Sandor from Sandor Productions are there filming it today and tomorrow, and to come down and just give her some words of inspiration. We love you, whatever you want to say.
And if someone has a connection, where can they go to be involved in this? Where is it set
Sure.
up?
Well, there's a few things. We have a GoFundMe as well, and it's called For the Love of Bee. And so that is to help with some of her alternative things that she's looking into doing now.
Right.
And to help her family and her son. And if you want to go say a few words to Bee, then you should get in touch with the Port Credit BIA, send them a message, and they will get back to you and give you a time to come down, either if they can fit you in this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the latest inductee into the Mississauga Walk of Fame, Patti Janetta. Thanks so much for coming in
It was
today.
my pleasure.
We look
Thank
forward
you.
to hearing your new album. Please come back on the show when you have it, and we'd love to feature you musically.
Thank you.
And we will be right back.
Come down and join us at Shore Grill and Grotto for one of our fabulous meals and some of the best live entertainment on our over 6,000 square feet of heated outdoor patios. This week's entertainment lineup is Thursday, September 17th, the Tom Barlow Duo. Friday, September 18th, the Killin' Time Band. Saturday, September 19th, the Grady Brothers. Sunday, September 20th, the Dave Murphy Duo. This week, we are introducing our new roast beef sandwich, tender and slow roasted with fried onions and our signature sauce. We will guarantee that this is the best roast beef sandwich that you have ever had, or it's free. Stay safe and stay healthy, and we hope to see you.
Shore Grill and Grotto.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a good friend of mine on the show today. He has been a mentor to me. He has produced albums for me. He is a world-renowned, as in has played in every arena, it seems, around the world. And he's here today with us. Welcome, Bill Bell.
What an intro. Thanks.
Bill Bell.
Thank
Bill,
you.
it is great to see you. You look
too.
great
Thank you.
as always.
You guys, congratulations on the show.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about your career as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could begin with your relationship with Jason Mraz. I know you sort of discovered him. Can you talk about
Well,
that?
I didn't really discover him like in a cave.
Right.
He already had a manager and was doing things. And my wife at the time, Tara McLean, we had a record deal with Capitol. So we were living in Los Angeles, and so we were doing a little tour of California, and he was our opening act. And so I just watched him every night and thought he had an incredible voice and asked if he wanted to do some recording. And I had a studio in Hollywood at the time. So he came down to the studio and we did a demo. Like, it's very simple. It's just one of those things that life kind of throws your way. And I just loved his voice and just wanted to work with him. And then we became friends. And the song that we recorded ended up being his second single off his first record called You and I Both.
Right. And his career just went.
Yeah, and so funny. Then after, unfortunately, I got divorced, and after that happened, he called out of the blue, again timing, and says, "You want to go on tour? I have a hit song with a song called The Remedy." And,
Right, I remember that
yeah,
song.
and so I said, "Yeah." I said, "When do you want me to start?" And he goes, "Well, I'm playing Dallas tomorrow." So I went down to the local CD shop and bought the CD and basically learned it on the plane, and then joined the circus and went on tour for like 15 years.
Oh my.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hits.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of it.
Well, off and on with him,
Right.
because I left to be with my daughter for a while and do other things. And
Right. And also, Canadian icon Tom Cochrane.
yeah, well, Tom and I have been playing together now for over 25 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm honestly really lucky.
What a great collection of artists to be able to be part of their careers and part of their
Yeah, and and again with
recordings.
Tom, it happened because of friends. I was playing with a guy named John Cody, and Tom's wife Kathy was managing John, and so I'd go over for dinners, and then we were doing some gigs together. I was playing with Amanda Marshall back then as well, and we opened for Tom, so had a bit of a relationship. And but we ended up going for dinners, and then we ended up doing Kumbaya Festival with Molly Johnson
I remember
in '93.
That was the rotating stage in Ontario Place. I
exactly.
remember that show.
And then Alex Lifeson came to sit in with us, and
Who you've also worked with.
after that, that's what I mean. That happened through a friendship as well, through meeting him at Kumbaya. And then we did the next Kumbaya after as well, and we did all on the Watchtower. And Alex and I got together, and I played a little slide, and he did the Hendrix parts. And
Right.
So,
Actually,
and
I
again,
think I've
it's all
seen it on YouTube. That's a great.
Biggest hands I've ever seen.
Alex
Alex
Lifeson.
Lifeson. Mitts.
yeah,
How you doing? Whoa.
yeah, he's the greatest guy.
Now, interestingly, I follow you on social media, and we're friends, and we talk about politics, and we catch up on a
I
regular.
love it.
But most of the time now, we're not talking about music. I mean, we're lovers of music and creators of music still.
Right.
How is it that you've sort of branched out into other things? How did that come to be?
I've had blinders on with music my entire life. Like, all I read was music books. I read music magazines. I watched music movies. All my friends were musicians. And I got sober 3 years ago. I quit drinking alcohol. And after that, I went through a nervous breakdown and a really hard time, necessary for the journey that I was on, now that I can look back with a clear vision. But all of a sudden, I started looking at this big world that's out there that I kind of feel I missed out on a little bit. Like, all these other opportunities and hobbies. Like, my friends were doing all these things. Like, you got into real estate and down in Costa Rica, and you graciously invited me down. And that opened up my eyes and different, and I have friends doing a lot of different things. And so I just got interested in learning about other avenues.
Now, one of the fascinating things to me was you mentioned that you stopped drinking. Now, I knew you through this period.
Yeah, you did.
And you look great now. Now, you're always a handsome
Yeah,
man,
you did.
Come on.
but you look great now. And
Thank you. So do you.
Well, thank you. And I recall
And you
you
too, Rick.
saying.
Thanks.
I recall you saying something to the effect of, "I think I'm a model now." It kind of just.
Well, that was after I started working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, someone saw a photo of you, like your profile
Right.
picture, and
Yeah.
just said, "This
Yeah.
this guy can work."
Yeah, well, you know Juana Dragon, who's a
Yes.
friend of ours. She's a photographer for G Adventures, and they do travel packages around the world. So she called out of the blue because I had let my hair go gray because I've been dyeing it since I was 26 to be young in the music industry.
Right.
As we do.
Right,
We do all
we
these
do.
things.
Sure.
So anyway, so I let my hair go gray. Posted a picture of it on Facebook. She calls, again, the way the universe works, out of the blue and says, you know, I'm doing this photo shoot in Jordan in the Middle East, and we need mature models for the brochure. Would you like a free trip to Jordan, and you know, I can get you some great photos? And at the time, I was thinking about maybe getting into acting and maybe some modeling or whatever, just to make some extra money. And so I said, sure. So I went over, not knowing what to expect, got some great photos. And then got a deal with Sutherland Models after, and
Which is
and
one of the
started
biggest
working.
agencies in Canada.
Again,
am I right?
just my friend Craig Stickland, who's a great songwriter, and I respect him so much as an artist. And he goes, Bill, the modeling thing is great. Really great people, because again, you feel self-conscious and going into it and being like, I don't know anything about this industry. And he goes, listen, you know, you have a great look for an old guy.
Right?
So take
There's a compliment for it.
advantage of it, and you know, I think you can make some extra money on it. And he goes, the modeling thing for him paid his bills so that he can make music the way that he wanted to make it.
Right.
So for me, that was attractive. So all of a sudden now, for the last year, the bulk of my income has come from the modeling and acting world, and it's given me the freedom now to take a step back from music. That I've made a living from music for God, like 40 years, my main income. So, and then when you do that, sometimes you lose sight of your passion for the music, and it becomes a job. And I hate to say that, but sometimes that happens, and it happened to me. So it allowed me to take a few years off from music and reevaluate my passion in music again.
Right.
And I'm back feeling great about it.
Well,
so it's a gift.
I love that story. I love that, you know. Sorry, we got a wasp attacking Rick here. Are you okay, buddy?
I mean, go ahead. Just keep going. Go.
No, don't kill it. No, we're Buddhists here.
Oh, I'm a kill things.
No.
That's what I do.
Steady, my man. Welcome back, my friends. We have saved Rickford from the wasp. We are sitting with Bill Bell. We are having an excellent conversation.
Thank you.
The wasps don't approach you, I notice.
No, I'm good.
You're safe.
I'm free. I'm free of the
They
stings.
come after evil, apparently.
No, just before we had our safety break, we were talking about things that you're passionate about, and I noticed that you've been working with an organization called Unison. Tell us a little bit about what Unison does and your relationship with them.
Unison is a great organization. It's a Canadian organization that benefits musicians and everyone in the music community. So that means managers, road crew, anybody that's been working, I believe, for a year or two. You know, you have to derive your income from it.
Right.
But basically, it provides free mental health, free financial assistance for food and rent. Excuse me. And what's the other thing? I'm drawing a blank. There's three: financial assistance, therapy, and dental.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
which is
Because
amazing.
Musicians do need dental. They don't have it.
Well, yeah, but we don't have a plan.
No, we don't have a plan.
So it's an incredible service, and I've been doing charity work for them for years. As a matter of fact, Tom and I play an annual Unison event that used to happen at the Phoenix Club.
right.
And then a friend of mine, John Cody, got hit with a really bad illness, and so he utilized Unison's benefits as well. So when I went through my nervous breakdown, I reached out to Alan Reed, who's a really good friend of mine, as you know Alan.
Yeah.
And he recommended that I reach out to Unison for their services, and of course my foolish pride was like, no, I don't want to do that. I mean, that's for people that are really hard done by and down and out, and you know, I'm doing okay. And he goes, no, it's like, you need this, like, reach out to them. And they were so great with me that I still get you know, emotional when I talk about it, because within the first call, I was in therapy in the second, like 2 days after the first call.
Wow.
Yeah, and I needed it at that point. So so now I do whatever I can to help them and spread the word of the good that they do for the music community.
And where can people find Unison?
Well, it's the Unison Benevolent Fund.
The Unison Benevolent Fund.
Can you put a link up
Yeah,
for
we'll
them?
put a link up for that, Les. Yep.
Great. And it's online, and you have to register. And then it's free, and it's 100%, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, no one will know about it.
Okay, confidential.
Thank you.
Right.
So you call up, confidential, you enter your information so that when you call, they have you in the database, and then they can basically fast track you to the needs that you want.
But that's an amazing service.
Yeah.
Now, one last thing I'd like to ask you about, Bill, is we get a lot of young artists on the show, and they're all sort of, chasing the dream. And my experience is sometimes they're chasing the dream energy supersedes their input in their art.
Right.
What advice, as somebody who's taken a young Jason Mraz and seen them, through to the top, what advice do you give to a young artist that might be watching at home right now on what it is to be successful?
I would think it's, I think courage to be authentic is what it is, because there's only one you in this world. And so I think everybody is not everybody, but a lot of artists are very insecure. And so it's really easy to kind of be Tom Petty a little bit. Even the Stones did it. I mean, they were kind of like Chuck Berry for a while, before they got off. But then they eventually found their own voice, and they found what made them the Rolling Stones. And so I think my advice would be find out what makes you tick and try everything. Could be reggae, could be rock, could be R&B, could be whatever it is. And within that, like imagine how many no's Bob Dylan got about his voice at the time. How many people told him he probably sounded terrible as a singer.
Right.
But he still stuck with his guns and still do it. And I think that takes courage. Or Led Zeppelin, even though I know they ripped off blues artists, but eventually they still developed a sound.
Right.
And they got and people hated it. Rolling Stones, Rolling Stone magazine wrote terrible reviews, but they still stuck with it. And they were authentic within what they did, and I think that's what young artists, should do, is find their own voice.
Honesty. That's all. People they'll pick up on that. They know.
Yeah, and you'll find an audience.
Yeah, as long as you're honest,
yeah.
You can believe. They'll believe. You believe it, they'll believe it.
And I think at the end of the day, let's say you don't find a big audience, you can look back at your body of work and say that's me.
Yeah,
instead of that was me trying to be this guy or trying to chase this hit. Or
how terrible would that be to have a whole career and not be yourself and fail? And you're like, God damn it, I failed,
right.
And I wasn't even me failing.
Yeah, you haven't even met me yet.
Yeah,
and I'm over. And
I tried to write a country
okay.
hit, and it didn't work. Well, you're not country. Nobody believes it. That's the thing.
And it's funny you say that with country because I see it a lot with country. It's people were like, maybe I'll do a country record.
And I get it because you want to make a living, and your parents are going, you're a bum. You're like, when's your next hit song? And so you're trying to make people happy around you. But there comes a time when you kind of have to say, fuck it. Like, I just don't care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Now, Bill, before you have to go, what's new for you? What are you excited about? What is on the horizon?
I'm excited about new adventures. Like I'm basically researching plant medicine, which, as you know, I'm very excited about for the future. I'm researching other ways to make music. I'm researching how to take music in a digital forum now with streaming and different ways we can do this. And yeah, and just trying to create and talk to people and talk to great minds and learn. Right now, I think right now is a great time to learn.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Well, Bill,
everything is happening very quickly.
One of my favorite things about you is your curiosity.
Thank you.
And
you as well.
Well, thanks. And I'm just glad to see you doing so well and being so successful.
Well, and the show, man. I'm so proud of you. This is amazing what you've built here for the community and for everybody involved.
We have a great community, and it's been very supportive of Rick and I and the show and the crew. And thanks very much.
And Rick, we haven't really talked about it. A year ago, Monday, we were playing a show together. I was with Tom. You were at the Headstones doing the Rock in the Big House.
The Kingston Penitentiary show.
That was fun.
That was pretty amazing. And that was the first time the Hip have played. They played with the other artists, but that was the first time we played with them. That was the first time they were all together, except for the drummer, since Gord died. And we did that song. That was pretty cool experience. And seeing you in the dressing room, going over a song because it just got thrown to you.
Yeah,
and I knew you from here, but I just looking at you, just all of a sudden you never really learned it and you've nailed it. I was like, oh, that's
didn't the guy from the Hip say that is great?
Yeah.
Well, Rob Baker's part.
Rob.
And so I asked him, I said, do you want to play this part, your part? And he goes, you're playing it great. You go ahead.
And what did he say? I was there. He goes, I'm just going to play some greasy licks all over it. And I just went right on.
No, and that benefited United Way, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
United Way.
Paul Langlois' wife all
Put it on.
spearheaded that. Yeah, that was great.
Fantastic show, fantastic day.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a pleasure it has been to have Bill Bell with us today. Is it BillBell.com? Is that your website, Bill?
Bill Bell Music.
BillBellMusic.com.
BillBell.com is a guy that rides for Jesus.
Okay.
You can be
If
Jesus.
you go to that page, it's not the right page. We'll put a link up so we send you to the right
I think
Bill
you
Bell.
could be Jesus.
And, and we will be right back.
Hi, this is Tony Paglia. Great to be with you. I'm going to do an absolutely wonderful Peter Gabriel song for you. Climbing up on Salisbury Hill, I could see the city lights. Wind was blowing temps of steel, eagle blew out of the night. He was open to observe, came in close, I heard a voice, still stretching heaven up. Had to listen, had no choice, did not believe the information, just had to trust imagination. Heart going boom, boom, boom. So you said, grab your things, I've come to take you home. Keeping silence, I resigned. My friends are glad I was enough, turning water into wine, and open doors that soon be shut. So I went from day to day, though my life was in a rut, till I thought of what I'd say, which connection I should cut. I was feeling proud of the scenery, walked right out of the machinery. My heart going boom, boom, boom. So you said, grab your things, I've come to take you home. When they lose you spinning there, I'm never where I want to be. In liberty should be aware. When I think that I am free, watch my empty silhouette. Who close their eyes but still can see. No one taught them where to care. I was shown on me the day I don't need a replacement. Done with the smile on my face, man. Heart going boom, boom, boom. So I said, you can keep my things, it comes take me home. I'm going home. Send me home. I'll soon be home.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a very interesting guest on the show right now. This is her first ever interview. We were just discussing that she's been in the music business a long time, but has never been interviewed before, never been mic'd up before. We have Samantha McKinnon, Sammy as we call her. Welcome to the show, Sammy. How are you doing?
Hi, good. Nice to see you again. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Now, we met because you're the bass player in a really fun punk band. And you used to come to Jam Night in Port Credit.
Yep.
We met there. You would come most Mondays. You would rock out. We saw your band, Sista Fista, go from 1-2 songs to doing full shows.
We even have an album.
You do have an album, which I own.
Yeah.
And it's a riot of a band. When you see the band live, you never know what's going
I want to see this band.
Oh, it's,
I want to see this band.
It is a trip. It's an all-female punk rock band with attitude.
Love it.
So, but as much as we love that band, we're having you on the show today to talk about something different, and that is your full-time gig is that you are freelance stagehand.
Yeah.
And Rick and I and a lot of musicians have been talking a lot about, we can't gig and what are we going to do? And then the world has kind of opened up. There's a few outdoor gigs.
Yeah, but
there's some patio gigs.
Nothing.
Acoustic guitar, small,
Yeah.
but not rock shows.
No.
And I think getting lost in there is the thousands of people like yourself who, the last time I saw you working, you were at the top of a giant tower with a follow spot on Mick Jagger on top of 60,000 people.
Yeah.
So the 60,000 people are not coming together now. So tell us about what's happening in your community and how the COVID restrictions have affected them.
Well, certainly the gathering limitations have certainly sidelined many, many careers. Even from people who have been in this industry for 20 plus years, right down to the people who are just starting out. Like at every level of experience, people have just been sort of benched, right? And we're just sort of waiting to find out when those gathering restrictions are going to be lifted. Obviously, it's just about being patient. The arts are sort of adapting. We're able to do drive-in concerts, but it's just not the same. There's a very small crew instead of having hundreds of people building a show.
There's not enough shows like that to keep the whole industry going, right?
And it's not very profitable either.
No.
So, they're not selling their normal, like the venues are not earning their money on their food and liquor sales the way they normally would if it was, a full 60,000 or 30,000 people. So it's just been sort of trying to be patient and trying to keep busy. A lot of people are just looking for other work outside of the industry, which is really kind of a bummer because we really like our jobs and we're really good at our jobs, and it just sucks to have to switch gears, especially for some people so late in the game. When you have 20 years of experience doing one thing.
And your job just disappeared.
Yeah, overnight, without warning.
And I find it a bit cavalier that some people are saying, well, go do something else. But, when there's a financial crisis and the banks are failing, no one says to the bankers, well, you're in unstable work there. You just got to go, work at the warehouse at Amazon.
Yeah.
So, but you guys are being proactive, and you have something, an event, a movement called We Build Entertainment. Tell us a little bit about that.
So We Build Entertainment was a group that is made by stagehands. It's run by stagehands. And it's what we're working on right now is called a Day of Visibility. We're sort of modeling ourselves after a movement called Red Alert that was happening in other places in the world where, say, other countries like Europe or the US, they were a country, Europe. But overseas and in the US, they were trying to get their governments to sort of say, like, hey, we're going to take care of you, or to try to get their governments to put out some social assistance to help them, because even in the States, we know that they didn't really get a whole lot to keep them and their families afloat. Right. In Canada, we're pretty fortunate. We got taken care of very well. It's not the same as working, but at least we're able to, keep our heads above water. So we've created this day of visibility where we're going to light up all the venues in the city red. The CN Tower will be red. The Toronto sign at Nathan Phillips Square will be red. The Scotiabank, Rogers Centre, Bud Stage, like all of these venues have gotten on board. It's going to be really awesome. So if you're driving around next week, September 22nd, on Tuesday, it's you're going to see lots of theaters and arenas, and everything's going to be lit up red, which is going to be awesome. And that's just the stagehand community, which is a dedicated workforce that would otherwise be completely unseen. I mean, if we're doing our jobs right, you wouldn't see us, right?
Of course,
So this is just our way of saying, hey, we're here, we appreciate what we have, but we need to continue our dialogue with policymakers at all levels of government so that we can continue getting the benefits and getting the care that we need from the government.
Right. Well, thank you very much for coming on and for sharing the story, your story and the story of your industry. WeBuildEntertainment.com is where you can find more information.
Yep.
Sammy, it's great to see you again.
It's good to see you
And
too.
Thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks.
We will be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favorite segments on the show, which we haven't done in far too many weeks, is called Riffing with Rickford. And Rickford, as you may know, is in a bunch of fantastic rock and roll bands and metal bands. And you know, Rick, there's just nothing like a speed metal riff. It's got this authenticity.
Yes.
It's got a magic that just can't be replicated with other instruments.
No, there's not an instrument that rivals the rock guitar. Like things we can't do on other instruments. It's like I've been working on stuff like.
Wow, that's heavy.
Can't do that on any other instrument.
Could you give it to us one more time?
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Riffing with Rickford. We'll be right back. Welcome back, my friends. Just before we get into our next segment, we'd like to send a shout out to some people watching from around the world. We have our friends Paul and Shannon watching in Texas. How do you guys? Paul Stevens in BC.
Paulie.
That's not really another part of the world, but it's far away.
Far enough.
BC. And our friend John Chantry watching from the Bamboo Room in Costa Rica.
John Chantry.
Now, one of the most educational segments we have as residents of Port Credit is something new we started a couple of weeks ago called Eating Port Credit. And what I love about it is I'm discovering new and interesting places to eat. Now, I know Rick has been going to Huevos Gourmet in the East Village.
Yes.
I don't know anything about it. Rick, what's the deal?
I like breakfast burrito, and it's fantastic, man. I like they just make it in a certain way. Like you can make a breakfast burrito anywhere, I'm probably sure, but this is just next level with potatoes, and it's fantastic. You should try it.
Do they use the chorizo sausage?
Yes, they do. It's a
beautiful.
little spicy for me, but I'll still eat it.
Carson, you are the chef in residence. What's your go-to in Port Credit?
Okay, so usually our tastes change daily. Right now I'm thinking I'm just going to cheer for the Yankees, and I'm going to go with La Villa Bakery. Okay?
Johnny Bozzo, legend.
Johnny Bozzo has a great bakery there, but also they have a great hot table. There's always pizza to go and a large variety. Best butter tarts in Port Credit. You want to check them out. And sometimes what you can do is you can buy a cake and then go home and just throw some flour on yourself and make your friends think you made it yourself.
That's what I would do.
These are the secrets
Beautiful
of cooking.
breads too, yeah, breads.
I have been a big fan since they opened up a place called Dry Age, which is right across from Starbucks in Port Credit. They have remarkable steaks, amazing burgers. Rick's a big fan of the burgers now too.
Burgers are great.
So, and if you have to do a one-stop shop, they've also got asparagus. They've got other things. If you have to throw a dinner together quickly, you can do an amazing gourmet meal just by going to Dry Age.
They also sell Jeff Salem's hot sauce. Jeff was on here talking about it.
Friend of the show,
Yeah.
Jeff Salem. That's amazing they have the hot sauce.
They do, yeah.
So,
Salem's lot.
Folks, eat in Port Credit, spend your money in Port Credit. We have amazing local restaurants and amazing businesses. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that point in the evening where we work on our culinary skills with the help of Carson Freeman.
Hey!
I have to say, Carson, that was the most rock intro in the history of cooking shows.
I think so.
What do you have for us today?
Well, as promised in my, thanks for that introduction. Salmon, enter salmon. We have some beautiful salmon this time of year. Great time to buy salmon or trout. And I'm going to make a dish today. This dish is, I don't usually have food concepts, but this one, I had an idea of getting a really beautiful gourmet meal that's would cost next to nothing because, hey, we're in a pandemic, right?
Right.
Now, someone like yourself, you eat healthy and you,
Sure, I try.
you exercise, you know. I don't exercise enough, but I'll just blame the pandemic and gyms being closed for most of them. We have some really healthy produce here, but a really delicious, tasty meal. And it's gonna start with this salmon. First of all, I always say, my twin brother always says that he has this philosophy that nobody likes fish, because when they like fish, the first thing they say is, it didn't really smell fishy or taste fishy. But that's the first thing you wanna do to check the salmon. There's no fishy smell.
Right.
And that smell usually comes from the insides that need to be cleaned out of that. I have some ingredients here from your kitchen, salt and pepper, okay? Everything needs to be seasoned nicely, so there's some salt, pepper, but we're gonna use something that's not a common ingredient, but this is very Canadian. This is sumac, okay? You can smell that. The color of it is beautiful. It's a maroon color, but sumac, it grows right here in Mississauga. If you are going to use it, it will add beautiful color. Kind of looks like a smoked paprika, but a very different taste. This is more of a lemony flavor.
And where can people get
Citrus.
that?
You can buy it at most grocery stores, and I would recommend that too, because it's very rare that this happens, but some sumac is poisonous. It doesn't grow around here, but if you're watching from
Don't get that
anywhere,
one.
don't get that sumac, okay? So what we have here, I've just seasoned it. Here we have some beautiful root vegetables that are in season. I have some fennel. This fennel is a beautiful, huge one. Some heirloom carrots and some celery. And I kept the fronds from the fennel. Any root vegetable, a good thing to know is you can always eat the entire
This is the fennel
vegetable.
here?
This is the fennel here,
Okay.
also known as anise. I cut it up. The seeds are used for making sausages or
Right.
all sorts
'Cause
of
this looks like
applications.
dill almost.
It looks very much like dill, but it has more of a licorice flavor. Now this is an acquired taste. Some people don't like it, but I think it tastes really well, works really well with carrots too. But the whole root vegetable is edible, the fronds as well as the part.
And how are you going to cook these?
What I've done is I've steamed some of these, okay? And just so they have their natural flavors, and I put them in a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper.
Simple.
Very simple. And we're gonna serve this on a bed of warm lentils, okay? And what I've done is I've taken some of these root vegetables just to pair the flavors, and I fried those up and mixed them with the lentils that are on the stove. So let's get to cooking the salmon, okay? I'm gonna move over here, and what I'm doing is I'm gonna start off with some olive oil, but I also wanna use some butter, okay? Butter, because it has such a great flavor, and it's, I know I said this is a healthy dish. I promise it'll still be healthy. And it's gonna start to melt there. And I can help it along. And when we cook the salmon or trout, we wanna cook it skin side down. We wanna get that nice and crispy. Not everyone eats the skin of fish, but if they do, they want it to be nice and crispy. I'm just gonna do one piece for now, just to serve it up. And the top of this, try to cook your fish or all your meats at room temperature, and they'll just cook a lot more evenly. I'm gonna bring the temperature up in my pan, because adding something like this is gonna make the...
So what are you there, at about medium?
Right now, it's about a medium to high heat. This pan was heating for a long time, so it retained a lot of flavor. And I'm just gonna watch the temperature on that. But let's take a look over here. These are the lentils that I cooked. The lentils, really nice legume, very healthy thing to eat, but very flavorful. And what I did, I just did a mirepoix of celery, carrots, and onions, fried them up, and added my, my cooked lentils to that.
And that's just from a can and poured in. Anything
Yeah.
else you have to do there?
I wanted to use the Golden Pearl lentils. Those are the best ones. You're gonna find them from a can. Because I find when you cook them, it's really hard not to get them overcooked. But it also works really great with green lentils that I would not buy from a can. I would definitely cook them from dried. Okay.
Gotcha.
So let's take a little break, and we'll come back and we'll see how this dish comes together. Okay, Tom, the salmon is cooked perfectly.
It smells delicious.
It smells good. I'm gonna take the lentils from the back of the stove here. Plenty of lentils. What I'm gonna do is I have this great serving bowl, okay? I'm gonna just put them right in the center. They might spill around, but that's gonna look really nice. You know, some chefs, what they will do, remember, I'm not a chef, I'm a home cook. What some chefs will do, they'll put it in a round ring, okay? That will make sure that those all stay in a perfect circle. They'll wipe it up and clean it up later, just for the presentation. But because this is kind of a rustic dish, I'm gonna let it look that way, and I'm not trying to be overly
I noticed you're
pretentious.
serving that skin up.
Right, because what we did was we worked to make sure that the skin was nice and crispy.
Right.
And if we have it the other way, the lentils are still warm. They'll be steaming that, and there's some liquids in there that will just kind of make it soft again. So if somebody
Okay.
wanted that.
Gotcha.
Now here are some of those vegetables from here. These are, I'm just gonna get the nice, that one's broken. Okay, so get some nice colors.
Wow, it's
Here.
coming together. It looks beautiful. And
Look
what
at
would
this.
this cost you, this entire plate that we're seeing right here?
The amount of groceries, okay, to make this, I can make about 4 servings easily, would be, this is wild salmon too, and I got a really good deal on it. But I would say $30 to feed, give or take, probably less.
4 people?
To feed 4 people
Wow.
easily. And what I'm gonna do, just for a little bit of a garnish, okay? Garnishes shouldn't be just like superfluous. These actually is fennel that we used in the dish today. Tom, why don't you put a couple more sprigs anywhere you want?
Pressure. All right. We'll just sprig this a little bit, and I think, how's that? I'm feeling very chefy right now as I do this.
That looks perfect.
Is that all right?
Yeah, this dish doesn't need anything. It's filled with
All right.
flavors. It's delicious, and yeah, it has this special
Bam.
touch of Juno Award nominated musician right here. Perfect. Soon to be chef. Okay, so try this at home. Beautiful dish to try in the fall. Very Canadian, very fresh, very healthy, and let's dig in.
Knocked out of the park. Oh, do I get to try it right now?
Yeah, let's try now.
All right. All right. I don't know where to begin. All right, I guess the fish, right? That's the star of the show. Wow. Yeah, it looks amazing. Get in there.
Drum roll.
The skin is, I would have peeled the skin off and not eaten the skin.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you did that. That's fantastic.
Well,
That's a lentil.
He's been lentil.
Carson, that is amazing.
Okay. Sit back and enjoy.
Les!